with a photo story of the polar bears. So today morning you must have gone for the nature walk and have been absorbed in the tranquil nature as well as the beautiful creatures that live within. So today we are going to talk about a very sensitive topic, global warming, climate change, and how it is affecting the Arctic wildlife. So most of the talking my photographs will do themselves. I am just going to pitch in wherever certain key details are needed to be provided. So as the topic of the session is messages from the wild, so I have given the very fancy name of telegram from the Arctic. Telegram means it is something like an SOS, an urgent message that is coming in, and I will be working as a postman who is carrying the telegram to all of you. So if I want to give an idea what is the landscape or where my story is based upon, my story is based upon in Alaska, the northern tip of North American continent. So if you place the expedition map, starting from New York City, you go straight up to the capital of Alaska, Anchorage, and there's a small little town known as Fairbanks that is located in the central of Alaska. From central of Alaska, you will really have to take the inland route up to the northern shore of Alaska to a place known as Dead Horse. And from that, you will have to go out on a boat looking out for polar bears. So it's a very treacherous and difficult expedition to venture upon. So in order to understand the different parameters and impacts of global warming, I will like to take you through a journey from the central part of Alaska directly to the land of the polar bears. Next slide. So if I zoom in into Alaska itself, we see Fairbanks is located at the central part, and there's a road that connects directly to the shore of Dead Horse, known as the John Dalton Highway. I will emphasize on that a little later, but this is the route that was taken. And if I look into the satellite map of Google, more or less it looks green. But whenever we talk about or think about Arctic environment, we always visualize a snowy white environment, which is not the case. So next slide. So when we travel up the central part of Alaska, we reach a place known as Wiseman that is located directly on the Arctic Circle. The Arctic Circle is the northern circle, imaginary circle that divides the Earth just like a orange, the topmost part of the orange. So this is something like a very beautiful case study can be drawn on it. A very small hunting village it is. It is located on the periphery of the gates of the Arctic National Park. But here, the people totally coexist with wildlife. So their hunting is not prohibited, it is allowed, where a very limited number of permits are given on an yearly basis so that they can sustain. India is an agricultural country where we can grow crops. But Alaska is such a landscape where you cannot grow your own crops. Anything that you fly in have a very high cost incurred. So people really depend upon animal protein. Next slide please. So this is the village I was talking about, Wiseman. Maybe countable 15 to 20 houses. It's a total logging community where they do logging and send it to the other parts of America for other building purposes, but it's a very peaceful town. We were privileged to stay in one of the homestays, and it's a very beautiful place. So I want to highlight one section of the SDG 15 Life on Land, where it says a healthy and functional natural environment is essential to promote sustainable economic growth and is conducive to human health and happiness. Human health and happiness is very connected to nature. So though we have started thinking humans are supreme beings, but we have to realize that we are an integral part of the natural environment. And slowly we are getting or feeling that we are getting detached to nature, which is actually not the case. Whenever we go back to nature, nature accepts us in a very beautiful manner. And when we have that mental peace, happiness, everything comes, and it is a very healthy life that we can live. This is exactly that mentioned in the SDG 15, one of the key sustainability targets or goals that we have. Please continue, next slide. So this is what I was talking about, living sustainably. There people live on animal protein, that means elk and moose deer they feed on, they hunt. But it is, even though they hunt, their use is so sustainable, it is based on only their need. It is not for pleasure, it is not for games, it is just for their own food source. So animal population do not go down, at the same time they live very harmoniously with the nature. So here, when we talk about subsistence hunting, it is a little bit of culture, it is a little bit of necessity, and it's the way of life at that place. So these are what some photo documentation that I could get about what they feed upon. Next slide, please. So previous slide. So this is one of those remains. So Alaska is a very, very cold climate. So really you can store your food in this manner. So this is one of the very, very strange documentation how you store your food. I will go deeper into how you store food in an Arctic environment later in subsequent slides. But this is how you really store your food. Next slide. So this is where the boundary is. So Arctic and the boreal forest. So all the previous slides I was talking about where the woodlands, where coniferous forests were there, and from this place a completely different environment takes place. This is something like a change of ecosystem altogether. So this is one of the boats that is placed at the foothills where completely the habitat changes. So the terrain of Alaska or Arctic is such, it is something like a tableland. You have the central part of Alaska, a completely flat land just like Puna. Then you have an Attican path that goes up and it straight down goes to the coastal area. Just like you have the Konkan coast directly vanishing into the sea. Just like that, the same type of landscape we have in Alaska as well. So this is just at the foothills of the Endicott Mountains where the road takes a very huge altitude. Next slide. So this is what we see. Suddenly you have nothing at all. So this is the James Dalton Highway that originates from Fairbanks right up to Dead Horse, which meets the sea. And this is one of the most dangerous highways in the world. Why dangerous? Because there are snow and the road is full of gravel and it is very dangerous to drive. And in analogy to Indian transport, in national highways you have those roadside dhabas, you have all those petrol pumps that are there. In Alaska you don't have anything. 80 to 100 miles, nothing at all. So there's a very good poster or board that is written, only God is your only companion here. So you have to have all your reserves, you will have to drive very cautiously, and you will have to make sure you follow the ethics of the discipline of the road. So this is the James W. Dalton Highway, which is a very, very famous highway. Olden days it used to be called as Hall Road, Old Hall Road, but now it is James Dalton Highway. Next slide, please. So the road goes up. So as it goes up, it totally becomes a snowy landscape. Next slide. So this is the Endicott Mountains, and this is the mountain you really have to cross to go to the other part of Alaska. So this is what we call the natural barrier. This barrier actually protects Arctic from other urbanization and other climatic hazards that is exposed to the other parts of America. America is exposed to a lot of tornadoes, hurricanes, but this mountains has a natural barrier, just as we have the Himalayas in India. We are fortunate to have Himalayas. If Himalayas wouldn't have been there, we wouldn't have had a monsoon, and it would have been a Thar desert or a very, very dry scrubland throughout the Indian subcontinent. So we are fortunate. At the same time, Alaska is also fortunate to have the Endicott Mountains, which is bordering the shore from the England. Next slide, please. So as you go down to the mountain, I will not go into deeper. There's a lot of storytelling between the mountains and as you descend down. But that's a full 1 hour talk show. I will do that later. But as soon as you go down the hills, you really enter paradise. And this part of that paradise is known as the Arctic Wildlife Natural Refuge. It is the home of about 80 full, this is not just grass, these are small little flowers that makes the landscape very, very beautiful. And you have the end, completely the corridor of the Indigo mountains out there. Next slide, please. So, there's a very, very interesting slide, more than gold in the hills. In the olden days, during the gold rush period, people used to come to this area mining for gold, which were never found actually. But here, from a scientific angle, there are treasures out there. Due to this very cold climate, you have very, very rare fossils that are still preserved as it is. Fossils of the saber-tooth tiger, you have the fossils of the mammoth and many other prehistoric animals that are preserved as it is. So this is a very, very sensitive and natural habitat important location as well. So we'll move on, next slide. So the road goes down through this paradise and vanishes into the ocean, just like this. Next slide. So I have been talking beautiful things till now. Now let us look at a very, very nasty chapter. If you see the beautiful landscape, you see a pipeline that is going there. So that the pipeline is actually the criminal of the landscape there. So the pipeline there, it is known as the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. It connects the northern part of Dead Horse to the down coastal Alaska in a place known as Salvard, where all oil can be loaded into ships and can be fed to USA, which amounts to around 40% of the oil production in the country. So when you talk about oil production, it is drilling of oil in the Arctic Ocean, in the landscape which is fragile by itself, using different pumps which really makes huge amount of pollution as well as heats up the environment. You can understand what it can cause. Next slide, please. So you find that in a very beautiful snowy landscape, the pipeline goes on and on. So this is a very, very sad thing to notice in such a beautiful planet. Next slide. So this is starting from the plains, you have the Great Alaskan Pipeline going like this, just to give you an idea. And here in all the pipelines, you have a very, very interesting message that is written. Please do not sit on those pipes. So you have people like Indian kids as well who tend to climb up those pipes and sit. Please do not sit on this pipe. And if you find leakage, call on this number. So very, very sad thing to see in such a very beautiful winter. Next slide. So as you go down and enter the paradise, you start seeing all these huge trucks with oil loaded coming straight at you. And in such a dangerous highway with an overloaded truck with no control by itself, it is a very, very dangerous highway to drive. If I would compare this truck, if people would have seen Terminator 2 and the Terminator driving that huge truck in a totally unmanaged manner, that is people how they drive there. In certain places, the trucks are really have to be pulled by chains to cover the high terrain. You have the artificial trucks, people, what the trucks do, they go up the shore, climb the artificial pass and then directly go to the inshore. So clearly these trucks have to be pulled using chains up. So this is what you really see. Next slide please. And this is the very sad. So these are all the photo documentation that I have done myself. So these are not taken from the internet or any public website. So I would tell you, nowadays cameras are very easy to buy. But the thing is, your eye should catch what to photo document. Any photograph can be a valuable document in the future. So I would really tell you to manage, save your document in a well-indexed manner. So at any point in time you can refer back and give a valuable information. So information of today will be something like valuable scientific facts or conclusion of the future. So I really want you to do photography in a very formal manner, wherever you do that. Apart from family taking pictures in weddings, etc. So this is what the oil wells looks. So you drill the oil directly from the ocean, feed it to these pumping stations which are filled into all the trucks that are standing there, and you feed that directly to US. Next slide please. So this is some statistics that are given. In 1988, this area used to provide 1.5 million barrels per day. But today, it is 31903. What does it mean? You must have really started exhausting all the crude oil, all the natural resources. So people are really going for renewable resources right now. So my daughter last week did a very beautiful project, science project on wind energy. She made a very beautiful miniature model where a windmill would run and a turbine which will actually blow a LED light. So these are all the renewable energy we are looking for, because it's a direct relevance that you see that in many places the crude oil or the natural resources are really getting exhausted. In the coal mines of eastern India, coal has been exhausted. Very few coal mines in India still produce high quality coal, and we are fortunate to export coal from Australia, which are of very high grade. So this is what's happening. Next slide. So we go back to the polar bear chapter once again. So when you reach Dead Horse, you have to go to another island before you can start the adventure into the polar bear island that is known as Chakraborty. So you reach Dead Horse, fly in a very, very small charter plane into Chakraborty and take a boat like this and venture into the Arctic Ocean looking for bears. In the Arctic Ocean, you have various small little islands, and those islands are the place where polar bears actually rest. So this man is a very, very famous man, Robert Thomson. Robert Thomson is the only man in Alaska who actually helps National Geography and Animal Planet team to photograph behavior of polar bears. And I was fortunate to be with him to actually photo document and study the bear for a very, very limited period of time. So if you see, I have already reached the shore of Arctic, but still there is no snow. A very direct relevance of climatic change and global warming. What I could get from that region maybe 4 or 5 years ago, Arctic is only covered with snow 3 months a year. November, December, January and partly February, 3.5 months. Rest of the time are either partially snow or no snow at all. So what is the relevance is good next slide. So you see, if I look into the Google map, the ice cap is way on top and Chakraborty or the coastline is completely at the bottom. This looks small, but if you really have to swim that distance, the polar bear really can't. So over a period of time, and this is the situation in November. So in December it can actually proceed a little, but these two regions never meet. So the polar bear on this side of the mainland and on the Arctic pole or the North Pole never meet. So at one point in time, there may be families that were living together but have now completely separated. So what is the option left? If the bears on this island cannot swim up, they will have to disperse either on the left or on the right. On the left, where the arrow actually moves, takes a circular path, there is Dead Horse. And you have drilling there, or fuel drilling. So polar bear really do not go to that area. So they get a detour here and they have to come back to the same area. So it's a direct habitat loss for the polar bears, and if there is habitat loss, there will be scarcity of food. People must be knowing what polar bears feed on. They feed on seals. And how do they catch the seal? If you have seen the animal documentaries, they are a breathing hole that the seal creates. The seal pops out to take a breath, and before it can go down, the polar bear waits very silently and catches. So if there is no snow near, there is no breathing hole. If there is no breathing hole, where will the polar bear actually wait for the seal to come? So if the seal is waiting on a particular island, and if the polar bear sees it, it will just jump into the water and vanish. A polar bear of that size will never be able to outswim a very agile seal. So their natural prey is so much decreased and their habitat has so much decreased. You can imagine what is the population survival of this population in the future. So this is a very, very alarming thing. Next slide, please. So at last we could get into an island, no snow still, and we could actually find a family of polar bears. Here our story actually starts. Next slide. So at one point in time, we could see at least 12 polar bears on one single island. People would feel I am the most luckiest person to see so many polar bears in one island. But is that a very good news for scientists? No. That means there is so much scarcity of food. Polar bears actually try to collect in one area at a specific period of time just for food. So there, as I have already told you about subsistence hunting, there is a subsistence fishing or hunting that is provided to the Eskimos of Alaska, where they can hunt 2 whales a year. So when they hunt, it is something like a community feeding. The huge whale is cut into pieces, and that piece is equally divided into the inhabitants of the same village or the community. So what these polar bears do is their life is totally tied to that particular event. So when a whale is caught, killed, and the pieces are distributed among the communities, and the leftovers are dumped in the dump ground, these polar bears collect to feed on the dump ground. So an apex predator of such big respect, who is the carnivora or top carnivora of that particular landscape, has actually become scavengers, total scavengers. Such a sad story to tell all of you. So this is solely because of the greed human race have really brought in. Next slide please. So the polar bears of the area have naturally become very, very curious. They have always looked for food and opportunistic feeders they have become. So whenever they see a human, they associate human for food. Either the humans are there to give them fish, that means they are fishermen where they can actually raid, or if they come near the human home, they will find food inside. Next slide please. So this is what they do. So our boats were really photographing, filming the bear, and it came directly point blank head on charged on us, because they really felt that we are one of those fishermen boats and we may have fishes there. So much hunger is there, so much scarcity of food is there, they really look for all opportunity to feed. Next slide. This is the dump ground. This is the dump ground. I was fortunate enough to go at that point in time where the whale has been killed, all the meat has been taken, and the leftover bones are there, and you have a family of polar bears that are feeding on it. You see a baby bear really climb onto the carcass to actually snatch the scraps of meat that is still on the bone. This is really not a picture you expect of an apex predator like a polar bear. Next slide please. One more frame. And that bears have become so fearless and so much accustomed to humans that they really don't have any effect of people really going too close to film them. Next slide. Another story. So if you have lost the fear of human, then you really come too close to us. So this is one of those footages where a family of polar bears are too close of the Chakraborty village, and really they are very, very cunning, they are very, very smart. They just want the light to cross. A polar bear is a totally nocturnal animal, though we see them during the day, but ideally these are nocturnal in nature. So they really wait for the light to go down so that they can enter the villages. Next slide. So as the dusk is coming, they are slowly making their way in. Next slide. So the boundaries have vanished. You have a human footprint on the left or the right. So the other one is on the left. So alike. So literally we have been sharing the same planet years and years. Now we have felt that we are the supreme being and we have drawn boundaries. But those boundaries have been vanished again. Next slide please. So this is how you store food in Alaska. These are two families who have got their share of well meat, and these are kept in the open with just a name. Mr. Nirmalya, Mr. Smith, Mr. John. This is how, because the climate itself is a natural fridge. You really don't need a freezer inside. So people really store their food outside. And if you store food outside and if there are polar bears in your habitat, that's a recipe of trouble. That's a recipe of big trouble, I would say. Next slide. So nowadays what happens is, the polar bears, if if they don't get food, they actually go to the graveyard and dig for dead bodies. If you see, it's a cemetery, but there are here polar bears cats all around. You are able to see it? Between the flowers, you have those black things. Those are polar bears cats, and polar bears have the great habit of seeing who died recently, so that they can actually dig them up. Next slide. So this is the bear tracks going up to the cemetery, and this is a zoomed image of the bear track inside. In that landscape, you are not allowed to go out on foot or go out without any escort or without any custody of security of a vehicle. But we got a special permission to get out and photo document these very, very vital data. So that's why I tell you, anything feel is very natural, very mundane, very simple, but sometimes these data become very vital in the future. Next slide, please. So this is what you see in most of the homes. So if you see a bear, don't go out. Go see your window before you go out. If you see a bear, don't go out and alarm the police or your local community. So if this is the way Eskimo or people live in Arctic, imagine such a situation again here. People who have seen the Sherry movie, if you have a tiger in your vicinity, people will really venture into the forest with lathis and kill the tiger then and there. Because somehow we have lost that tolerance. But what I see beautifully is Mumbaikas live coexist so beautifully with leopards. I have been to Sanjay Gandhi National Park, I have been to the Adai colony, I have seen leopard footprints all around the forest. People see that God, people see it as a welcome visitor who, whenever they visit, is something like Dekho Kaun Aaya Hai, a guest aaya hai hum log. This is the feeling people have. It's very beautiful. So that is one of the things that I would document. Next slide, please. So this is the telegram, and the key thing that is a very beautiful photograph I could get, though the polar bear was scratching, but this polar bear mom is very, very tense what to do next, because no food to feed her family, and the future seems to be very, very dark and dismal. Next slide. So this is the message. We are facing habitat loss and scarcity of natural prey. Please waste less. Reduce your carbon footprint, save our Arctic. These are few key little words. There's a big depth in each of those words. I will not go into detail because I have very senior, capable professional speakers who are going to talk on all of these. We have been talking about wasting less. Wasting less starts from everything. Wasting water, wasting, we keep on talking about our mobile phones over and for hours. Do not realize that the network is used, somewhere the energy is used. So there are various ways of wasting less. Wasting food. We have to tell our children not to waste food. Take whatever you actually can eat. So these are many things that come into the picture. Reduce your carbon footprint. I am representing an international brand, and they are really making it mandatory to go for a zero carbon footprint. So whenever they induct any of their vendors, they really check whether there is a sustainability risk assessment that is done as a design for them or not. So we are changing, we are evolving, but yes, there's a lot of things more to be done. Next slide, please. So this is So what we have to do, so this is directly from the SDG, take urgent steps and significant action to reduce the degradation of natural habitats and loss of biodiversity, to protect the present extinction of trends and species. This has been directly taken from the SDG 15. So really that is what is the needed of our. Last slide, please. So I am Nirmalya Chakraborty. I do a little bit of documentary filming, collection. I own a magazine known as Jungle Rhythms, so which actually